It's Bourbon Night. Hello, I'm Chad.
I'm Sarah.
And we have a little bit of an experiment here for you today.
I didn't bring my lab coat.
Well, it's okay. We have graduated cylinders, so I think we're good. We have always wanted a higher proof Four Roses yellow label, tan label. I think we can finally put that to bed.
Yeah, okay.
It's beige label.
Beige label?
It hasn't been called, or technically shouldn't have been called yellow label since 2018.
Like lovingly known as yellow label.
Yeah.
But
it's 80 proof and it has all 10 of the Four Roses recipes.
That's 2 mash bills with 5 yeast strains each.
All 10 in this bottle.
But it's 80 proof.
It's 80 proof.
And we love Four Roses, but we just personally want
Not
a little
in that
more.
range.
We find ourselves gravitating more towards the small batch select, which is over 100 proof, and so we would like to see, all 10 recipes.
What would that taste like? And finally,
the
fine folks at Four Roses have made that available, although some assembly required.
Some assembly required.
This is...
Batteries not included.
Yeah, this is the Four Roses
10 recipe tasting experience.
10 recipe tasting experience. So obviously you can do this in many different ways.
You can just taste them and figure out what's your favorite recipe.
You can try to blind match them, which I think we're gonna do at a later time.
Okay.
But we decided that we want to create a 104 proof version of this guy right here. So let's get started.
Okay, so we've got all 10 in here, and it looks like that we have 50 milliliters each, and I want to save some for potential future experiments.
This was $130, I believe, after tax. We got it at the Four Roses gift shop. Actually, shout out to John, who was visiting and going there and saw them and picked one up for us.
Thank you.
So thank you.
When you think about it that way, they're about $13 a piece, which, is kind of a lot for a mini bottle, but to be able to do this experience, I don't think it's too bad.
I don't think it is either, because what does like a small batch or a single barrel and a 50 milliliter cost? I mean, probably close to that. They're not the best value when, you're buying a 50 milliliter at the store, so makes sense.
Of all of these, Chad, what do you tend to lean towards more mash bill wise?
It varies, and that's the thing is, when you do a single barrel pick, it's a single barrel, so, you can go in there saying, oh, I like OESVs, but you're trying them blind, or at least you should be, and then you pick something else. Typically, I've said I've liked the higher rye ones, the 35%, the Bs.
Yeah, I'm a B girl myself.
But I've picked Es before as well, so.
True. I like an OBSB, but I've been known to dabble with an OBSF or an OBSK.
There you go.
Cute, going too far. Reel it in, too far.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Qs are good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take 10 milliliters, because as we said, we wanna be able to do something with this at a future time. So we're only gonna take 10 of each, that'll make 100 milliliters. So we're all gonna combine it into this mixing glass, and then finally be able to taste a 104 proof version of beige. Beige label just doesn't roll off the tongue like yellow label. Technically, it's just called Four Roses Bourbon. You have single barrel, you have small batch, you have small batch select, so it's just really Four Roses Bourbon.
The
104 proof version of Four Roses Bourbon.
All right, you be team B, I'll be team E. We'll split it up and get it done faster.
Now, while we're doing this, we can give you some info, some history.
That's not very scientific, Chad. You're supposed to rest it on the table.
Meniscus of Four Roses.
Can we do the two things at once?
Well, we shall see. So you all know Jim Rutledge, former master distiller before Brent Elliott came in. He started in the company in 1966, and he spent, I think, like 17 years up in the home office, the headquarters in New York. And finally, he came back to Kentucky in '92. Four Roses wasn't available in the US at that time. He was really telling corporate, we need to bring Four Roses back to the US. And finally, in 1994, they agreed to bring it back in a very small, limited amount.
But it wasn't like really back and on the shelves and readily available like it is today until like 2002. So it still took a while to, rev up that engine.
It did.
So yeah, as we said before, actual yellow label Four Roses flagship product hasn't been around since 2018. They switched to the tan label in 2018.
And a cork.
And a cork. And now, even today, we were out of the store the other day and we saw a brand new label.
Yeah, that's this one, which we like a lot. It looks more like the Al Young bottle.
It's definitely channeling that like vintagey feel, and I like it. I think
it's actually more what their bottles looked like in the 2000s.
So the Four Roses Yellow Label was like a 6-year minimum age-dated product. Today, it's more like 5, right?
Yeah, I saw a picture back from, I think, the 90s or the 2000s where it actually had a 6-year age statement on the label. But I saw an article on the Bourbon Review from 2019 when the small batch select was being introduced, and it listed the Four Roses Bourbon as being 6 years. Not age stated, like on the bottle, but listed on the website, Four Roses website that is, as 6 years. Now since then, today, 2023, it is listed as a 5-year minimum. So it has gone down a little bit.
But, what are you gonna do? Well, they did introduce the small batch select, which is, that was 2019, a 6 to 7 year minimum age statement. Plus then you've got the regular small batch, which is also a 6 to 7 years. So I'm guessing that everybody was just fighting over the 6 year. And they were like, okay, well, let's fix this problem. And then you've got the single barrel, which is 7 to 9 years old. That's the OBSV. I mean, it's just such a good, solid, comfy, cozy recipe. So this actually kind of reminds me of an experiment that we did a few years ago with the Beat Brent Elliott.
Can we beat Brent Elliott? Oh yeah.
Yeah, where we got access to all 10 recipes. Now they were at a higher proof. They were at barrel strength. Through our local Lexington Bourbon Society, and we were able to compete. That's a fun episode. You should go check that out if you want more Four Roses content after you're done watching this one. All right, I'm all poured up.
Me too. So another thing that I've always thought about Four Roses Bourbon is, 80 proof being their least expensive bottle, but it has the most that goes into it. All 10 of those recipes are mingled together and then cut down to 80 proof. And it's like, $22 bottle here in our area at least.
I mean, yeah, when you think about it though, that's probably the easiest way to batch a huge quantity of it for global distribution, and then also to achieve the same flavor profile time after time after time. You've got your 10 recipes that you can work with, the locations in your warehouses where you're gonna pull from to get the same thing every single time.
Well, before we go any further, we want to hit pause and tell you about our home on the internet. It's whiskyambitions.com. It's where you can get the t-shirt that I'm wearing, the sweatshirt that Sarah's wearing.
More coming soon.
More coming soon. Different ones, actually. Hats are Glencairns we're drinking from. We also have water glasses, rocks glasses, copitas, challenge coins, bottle cut candles, and more. Always coming soon at whiskyambitions.com.
And you can become a patron at patreon.com/itsbourbonnight and join our community for as little as $1 a month. That is where we release after the episode exclusives like we're gonna do after this episode. Discounts on that merch that Chad was talking about depending on your tier, and barrel picks. Very exciting stuff.
All right, we'll be right back.
All right, warning, this may be upsetting to some viewers.
We're gonna froth it. Mingles it together more, all right? Air.
Forcing the mingling, forcing the air in there.
Altogether, if you just emptied, all 10 of these into here, you would have 500 milliliters. So 500 milliliter, not quite a 750 or a 700, which
again,
some of them are becoming.
Right, and some people would say, well, for $130, I don't even get a full bottle's worth.
But
yes, that's true. But
where else besides being on a pick are you going to get access to all 10 of them? And that's not even all the time on a pick.
Exactly.
That's if they have all 10.
Oh, yummy Four Roses goodness.
Yeah, I mean,
I love the
spicy.
The baking spice, yeah, is my favorite part of this. Like a spicy caramel bread.
It's not super Four Roses recognizable though, is it?
I mean, it does have a little bit of herbal floral, but yeah, I'm getting more baking spice than anything else. Like, you could probably fool me on this and tell me it was wild turkey, and I might believe you based on the nose alone.
Because, again, besides an 80 proof version of this, there isn't anything out there that has all 10. And we are going to pour up the 80 proof and kind of compare it, although it's not going to be super fair because there's going to be 24 points difference. But we do want to see if like the DNA is there.
Right. How does it change? How does the addition of water?
Yeah.
All right.
To health. Whoa. That's a lot. That's a lot going on. It's mintier than I would have thought.
Yeah, I think the Four Roses is there, maybe not on the nose, but it is on the palate. Get that like herbal, minty, floral, not as much caramel as I was getting on the nose. A little dry towards the finish.
Not a super big mouthfeel, really.
Let's go, try again. And truthfully, it may just need to mingle for longer. Like,
yeah
we frothed it. TM frothed it. But it may need to sit for longer.
Covered up in a bottle.
Sure, we will seal it.
Right now, it's pretty spicy. If this were like a barrel pick and this were a single barrel, I'd be like, I don't know, this one's a little.
I'd say it's a little spicy,
a little forward, you know,
a little dry on the finish.
And honestly, I might say this is like a barely legal rye. It's really giving
really
off
rye forward.
vibes.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, well, let's try it next to our 80 proof friend.
Yes, let's do that. Again, this is now a minimum of 5 years, which I gotta say, comparing this to like other distilleries, you know,
Kind of
bottom
flagship.
shelf flagship, their entry level offering, like Jim Beam, white label, 4 years, you know, Evan Williams, black, or is there there's that green that's not sold in Kentucky that's 80 proof, and I think it's 3 years old. So this one being non-age dated, but 5 years is what they claim on the website.
I think is fair.
Yeah.
Oh, a lot more fruit on the nose of this one, of the flagship. I don't know what else to call it.
Four Roses Bourbon.
Four Roses Bourbon.
Yeah, I will say this smells more cohesive and like there was a plan. Because the other thing is we don't know. We did all these equal parts.
We don't know
10
if that's-
milliliters all across the board. This is, I mean, I guess it technically could be, but I seriously doubt it. They use a little bit more of this one, a little.
Yeah.
Just like the small batch select, which has 6 of the 10, which would be the nearest to this. They say the percentages of those 6 recipes changes yearly, just, you know, to maintain that taste profile. But they do say the majority of it always stays heavier on the B recipe, which is the 35% rye. So I'm sure this, I don't know if it leans heavier in the Bs, or since they're taking it down to 80, if they're thinking, you know, this is for beginners, maybe we go more on that 20% rye, mash bill, or what, but
I don't know. I get a lot of like Granny Smith apple peel on this one.
Yeah.
Like peeling apples for a pie.
You know, I thought, especially coming off of this 104 on the nose, that this would just taste or smell just so flat, but really this one smells more elevated and
It's funny, right?
better
Like a little bit
mixed.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, better balanced notes.
Ooh, okay. To your health again.
I mean, very light, as expected.
Very light, but very in balance.
Super easy, super approachable, like someone's first time trying bourbon.
I remember my first bourbon.
Right?
New to the new label is also tasting notes on the back here. So they say notes of fresh pear, apple, gentle spice, smooth caramel, and vanilla.
I mean, I definitely get the
pretty basic.
apple. I guess I could see how the apple could also become pear.
All right, I'm
I
gonna get
really get apple though.
one more of this on the palate. And then I want to go back to our 104 creation. Yeah.
Our Frankenstein. It's monster. I mean, ours is definitely bolder, but a lot
Aggressive,
more spice.
yeah.
Very aggressive spice.
So if we were making our ideal 104 proof Four Roses Bourbon, we would play with these ratios.
There are, I mean, nearly infinite combinations and percentages here, so
Yeah.
it would take a long time to figure out exactly what we wanted to do.
In conclusion, I guess, I have to say I am pretty impressed by the 80 proofer here. I just thought this would taste so flat and watery compared to our 104 proof, beast. But it just goes to show you, when you're just blindly putting equal parts of all these in here, I mean, sometimes you can get lucky, but that isn't the right ratio.
I think it speaks to the art of blending,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
just like you said, let's take equal parts of everything, dump it together, and it's going to be good. It's about identifying the flavors in each thing, that component that you're playing with, and deciding like what are its strengths and weaknesses, and how can these other bottles or pours or barrels, whatever you're working with, balance it out. I think that's what I like about blending too. It's kind of an art. It's like mixing paint. Like, I want to make this color, so what colors do I need to make this color?
Definitely. Very cool. Well, hey, that's where we'll leave it. If you haven't subscribed to us already, you can do so by clicking right up here. There's suggestions of other videos down here. We hope to see you over there in one of those. Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, Chad.
Okay, until next time, drink more bourbon.
To waste my